Well, lads, welcome back to episode 10 of Who's Got the Ball. Myself and Shane here. How are you going, Shane?
Good flyness. How about yourself? All good.
Good, good, good. Yeah, not too bad. How are we feeling after the Liverpool loss?
There was no football or hurling on at the weekend, so I was just able to have a free weekend, no stress, all relaxed. It was absolutely great.
Yeah, it was just a nice, relaxing Paddy's weekend for you, alright, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was nothing on. There was no sports at all. We just keep moving.
So Liverpool got, probably, to be fair, you'll agree they got played off the park in most of that game.
Deservedly beaten.
Um,
Yeah, deservedly
and
beaten.
yeah, obviously, referring to Limerick getting fairly well beaten as well there on the weekend. But
Yeah,
sure, look, that's only the league. It's not the same story as the
exactly. Yeah,
Liverpool Cup final. But Carlo won anyway. Won by 3 points. Made hard work of it, but I was up at the game there in Portlaoise and they won, so that was good going. And then United won as well on Sunday, 3-0 comfortably enough against Leicester. So decent
the
weekend for me,
second.
all in
They're
all.
the second worst Premier League team I've ever seen after Southampton, who are the worst Premier League team I've ever seen. The two of them are,
Yeah,
are just, they're shambolic, the two of them.
they're
It's
an
hilarious.
absolute joke, especially defensively. They're just so bad. It's
The first team
embarrassing.
to ever lose seven home games in a row without scoring a goal.
It's just a joke.
Just
Rude.
what's the point in them
Rude
being
was
there? Like,
getting United fans were chanting for him and all like.
yeah, thank
So
God you didn't take him for your sake.
I know, yeah. But let's get straight into what we're going to talk about this week. So obviously we're into the international window now for football. So there's no domestic games or European games. European games are the one I feel like I'm missing out on midweek. Like you always like
Yeah,
to watch them during the week. But we're going to talk about something different. So we're going to talk about the Ireland squad for this period. So it's two games against Bulgaria in the UEFA Nations League. It's like just to stop getting relegated down to the next
mm.
division, I think. So yeah, I'll just run through the squad quickly, and then we'll give a bit of an opinion what we think. Maybe guys that missed out. So it's goalkeepers are Kelleher, Travers, and Bazunu, and then defenders are Jake O'Brien, Doherty, Collins, O'Shea, Jimmy Dunn, James Abankwah, Robbie Brady, and Ryan Manning is in for O'Dowda. And then midfielders Josh Cullen, Jason Knight, Jack Taylor, Mark Sykes, Andy Moran is in for Will Smallbone and Finn Azaz. And then the strikers are or attackers are Ferguson, Adamida, Troy Parrott, Sinclair Armstrong, Mikey Johnson, and Rocco Bada. So what's the first takeaways?
When I was doing my notes up for this, I split it into trying kind of three categories. So I split into the players I was excited to see, the ones I
Mm-hmm.
was not excited were still in the squad, and the ones I thought were the big losses to the squad this time round.
Okay.
So Rocco Vata, I'm so excited to see him have a go. Abanqua, I'm really excited to watch him
Yeah.
as well. I think he's had a great season and deserves this call up. Finn Azaz always gets me excited, to be honest. He's having an absolutely wonderful season with Middlesbrough. And Andy
Mm-hmm.
Moran as well is another fella who I'm like, I know Azaz and Moran probably won't be on the pitch at the same time, but if we have them kind of interchangeable for each other, there's a good chance that we'll have a bit more creativity. I am sick to death of seeing Doherty in Ireland squads. I really am. He doesn't want to be there. He hates playing for Ireland. You can tell by his attitude every time he goes out there. He's only shows up because it's an ego boost. It's like, oh, I'm still going to pick for the squad. He doesn't actually want to be there. When he was dropped, he did an interview about it. Like, just I know the options are limited with Coleman injured and Festi injured, but as soon as we can just get him out and get him gone, just get him. Just I don't want to see him. We're number seven at right back as well. Just the other little things that annoy me. That's right up there.
I honestly think that he's his the fact that he wears short sleeves and gloves probably drives you over the edge more than anything. Like,
Another thing, yeah. So he's just an all round. He's a coward, is what he is. He's a coward. And then I have five down who are big misses. I think so. Obviously, Sammy Smodics is going to be a big
mm,
miss.
yeah.
Festi Abaselli is a big miss.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Chidozie Ogbene, the pace. He's just and he can kind of with the five at the back now as well. He can fill in at the right wing back, and
Yeah.
he's perfect there. I'd love to have seen Tom Cannon get a call up, but I
Mm.
don't know if he's injured or just missed out. But
No, he's not been playing since he went to Sheffield United. He's been on the bench.
So he'll
So
be a big miss. And then obviously Jason Malumbi as well, who when I picked my
mm,
Ireland 11 there on the spot a couple of weeks back, he was in my 11, I think. So
yeah,
I think I think those five are big misses from the squad. But the squad overall is quite good.
mm,
The aforementioned Matt Doherty has the most caps in this. No, he doesn't. Robbie Brady has the most caps in the squad. So it
okay,
is a squad that is getting younger and younger as the
that's a
international
positive
windows
at
goes on.
least.
Yeah, exactly. That's a massive positive. And like I think there's a good chance that we'll like we'll likely see Jacob Ryan make a debut from the start
Yeah,
of the Bulgaria game, surely.
he has
We'll
to.
surely see we'll see Finn Azaz probably in behind Troy Parrott and maybe Evan Ferguson. And then kind of just build around that. Then we'll probably have the two old men at the fullbacks. I say old men,
Mm,
but they're younger than me. But the two older
that,
men in the squad
yeah,
will probably still be our two fullbacks. But
yeah. I
I don't
think
know. I think it's really important that we don't get relegated.
yeah, I think we need to stay up just for the sake of having better games next year for fans to go to as well. But I think Doherty, like, I have a similar opinion because I didn't like his antics, like the way he carried on, and the time that he only got like 45 minutes as well. What was he leaving like comments and stuff about being like complaining about that? I saw him after one of the games. I believe it was Netherlands last year when I was there, and then after the game I was down in the bar, just down the road, and he was walking. I don't think he got a minute in the game, and he was nearly out walking by the bar quicker than I got down there, and I went straight from the stadium. He's obviously sulking, like left the team straight away, and he wouldn't look at any of the
Mm,
fans or nothing. Obviously, people are trying to say hi to him and all, nothing. So I didn't like that, but in fairness, for what Wolves, he's been very good this season, but again, he doesn't put that same effort in for Ireland. So I don't really like seeing that.
100%.
But I really like Abanqua. I mentioned him when we picked our Ireland team starting 11 as a solid choice. I really think he deserves to get some minutes. And I love Azaz as well. I think he's definitely our most creative player, the most exciting player there. I think in terms of midfielders that we've brought. So I really hope he plays. I could even see him playing deep alongside a more defensive player if we did go down that route in the future. Obviously now it's going to be Cullen starting, so he can't really start deeper alongside him. But yeah, I also looked at some of the guys who I thought were big misses. Most were the same as you, but I also had Amabami Dali. Like I think that was a big loss considering he's got some international experience now playing over in Strasbourg. So it's unfortunate that he's out injured, but he's been good since he went there. And obviously, I thought we might see a call up of John Patrick, because he
Yeah,
he has been starting the majority of games in the last few months for Stade Rem. So he's the exact player we would need him. I thought we might bet him in a little bit early in his career, but obviously it hasn't gone that way. One interesting thing is the fact that yeah, Sinclair Armstrong is in over Tom Cannon because Armstrong obviously offers something different to the other strikers, but Cannon was on very good form when he was with Stoke before Sheffield United signed him, so it's quite an interesting one to include Armstrong when he hasn't been firing in front of goal. Like I thought that was a bit of an odd one, and I don't think Ferguson should get a starting spot in the game. I think if we go one up top, it has to be Parrott. If we go two, it should be Ida and Parrott because they've scored the most and they're performing. Ferguson's not even playing. I just don't think it would be fair or our best squad, our best 11 if he started.
yeah. I agree with you there. Like he hasn't been getting minutes since he went to West Ham at all. He's been brought on for 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, and it's kind of I saw a tweet. It was like whoever's advising him needs to be sacked because everyone thought that move was going to go. That was going to be the making of him. He's going to get 10 goals between January and the end of the season, and he'll be lucky if he gets 10 minutes with the way things are going.
We would have thought that's a good idea to go there. No striker.
Mm.
There's obviously something there that he's obviously already worked with Potter. He knows what Potter is like, and like if he's if he's not getting in the team, there's obviously something there that is not fully there in training that it's just like we have better options. Because if he was the best option right now, he would be starting. I agree. I think he's an excellent player, but I just don't think he would have thought, or anybody who advising him would have thought that this would have been the outcome. Like we all thought this is a great idea.
Yeah, I'd love to know. Like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and just kind of see where the issues are. Like, is it his training ethic? Is it his finishing isn't what we expected it to be? Is it kind of is it just fitness? So like there's stuff that we'll probably never know because journalists never ask those questions in press conferences. So you only get one question, they're not going to focus down and say, what's the story with Evan Ferguson? So it's like it's never going to go that way. But I would love to know like what has happened to him in since January because everyone had such high hopes when he went there. And it's clearly not. It's not worked yet anyway, and there's only 9 or 10 games left in the Premier League season as well. So we're kind of running out of time for it to work now.
We're running out of time this season, and possibly looking into next season, it could be a move abroad or to the championship at this rate,
Championship.
like to get some
Yeah,
experience. With the way things have gone, so it's gone downhill pretty quick. But he's still one of our most talented players and promising for the future. I think probably the most likely starting 11. Let me know if you agree. Would be Kelleher, back three centre backs of O'Brien, Collins, and O'Shea. Then right wing back Doherty, left wing back Brady, two centre mids Cullen and I don't know, probably Jason Knight, and then in front of them Azaz, and then top two with Parrott and Ida. I think that's the most likely. That's
yeah.
not
The
what I
only
would
one I had
pick, but
different to you there was the only one I had different to you there was I had Ferguson in instead of Ida.
yeah.
But I think what you said about Ferguson doesn't deserve a start. I also actually did my own. If I was the manager from the squad, just
Mhm.
picked the formation and players I go with. So I'd be going for 4-2-3-1. Personally,
Mhm.
I love it, but I'd have O'Brien right back, Collins at Banqua, and Ryan Manning at left back. I know Southampton have had a terrible season, but he hasn't been awful.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, you do still have Cullen and Knight together because we have a serious lack of options in centre mid. And then I
Yeah.
had Vata, Azaz, Mikey Johnson, and Troy Parrott as my front four. Then,
Yeah, I like that lineup.
if I was picking
I
the
like
team,
that. I like that a lot more than what is going to be out there. I think yeah, going with four at the back probably suits this squad the most because we
yeah, I
do
think it
need
does.
more
Yeah,
bodies in around in the middle, and we need some wing play because we have some good wingers like with Chio when he's fit, and then Festi as well, and then obviously as you mentioned Johnston and Bata. Like we have options there, so we're not really using them. But yeah, it's interesting. I think Bulgaria are obviously not not a team
a
stacked with
powerhouse.
many household names. Like they're not on the
Mm,
Berbatov days. Like so, I don't think we'll end up losing to them over two
I don't
legs,
think so
but
either.
you still never know with Ireland what's going to show up. So if they do lose to them over two legs, I'll be very, very reluctant to think that there's any hope of anything happening in the next qualifying campaign.
I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens now. Um,
That's another
so
one. It is another one of the reasons why this is so important because, like, if you can't beat Bulgaria over two legs, then any hope the fans have at the moment is just going to be washed away just
yeah.
really, really quickly. Just before we move on, just one other thing I wanted to mention was like one of my, well, two of my biggest surprises from this international window were Dennis Shirkin and CJ Egan Riley being called up to the England under 21 squad.
Mhm.
I really thought they were shoo-ins for an Irish squad call up, either this window or the next one, and that looks to be kind of dead in the water now. But I think it's a strange one because I don't think either of them are ever going to make it in the England senior squad.
Maybe
So
circuit, but I
I
don't
wonder,
think
like,
Egan really
no, I think it's a strange one, and like I'm looking here, and they're both 22, and they've been called
will.
up. It's their first call up to the England under 21 squad, so I think it's a strange one.
I think it's just stop. Like obviously, there's interest there in Ireland, and Ireland have been on the phone to them, I'm sure. So I'd say it's just a
Mm,
tactic to just bed them in case they do want them in the future. Because I think, yeah, I think the only thing with Sirkin is if he does step up to the Premier League and he continues to grow, they might see something there in a position of need for them. So maybe that's the fact,
yeah,
but
maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, 22 years of age seems a bit suspect to be calling somebody up who's
Mm,
has another international team sniffing around them. So it's quite an interesting one, yeah.
yeah.
So
Other than that,
if
I'm
if you have nothing else there, yeah, I think we'll move on to our guest for this week. So we got a special guest on this week. We're gonna jump straight into that. So let's get on to it. Okay, lads. So we have got Conan back on again by popular demand. Everyone was dying for him to come back on here ever since they heard his podcast. We're all been listening to over here using Google Translate. So we just we just could not wait to get this man back on.
That's
But man,
dedication. That's
pleasure.
dedication.
Absolute pleasure, man. How's things going? Obviously, I mentioned last time you have your graphics page, but also now you've got your own Welsh NFL podcast. So how's that going for you?
It's going. Firstly, thank you very much for having me back on. I loved it the first time. Thank you for the opportunity again. Um, yeah, it's going all right. I guess I just finished recording my second episode. It's hard to. I don't know how you guys find the time to do it so consistently, but I've just managed to record the second one, which was good. Just covering like the off season basically and explaining what the draft is and what cap spaces and stuff like that, all that exciting stuff. And then somehow, some way, I've had the BBC, like the national radio station in Wales, like pick it up and ask me to talk with them. Again, couldn't tell you how that's happened. So that's happened as well. So it's going okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. So just we'll see how it goes really.
Some recognition as well on it. But let's what we're going to talk about now is a specific part of free agency that myself and Shane left out last week intentionally, so we could save it to chat with you. So we're going to talk about kind of like the QB carousel. So what's gone on, the major QB moves so far. Obviously, we're still playing a waiting game on certain players, but we'll throw it to you first. Which kind of acquisition or move stood out to you the most out of so far this free agency?
You know what? I think because of like the domino effect it might have, only in my mind. Obviously, I don't know what these teams are going to do later on, but Geno Smith to the Raiders, I think, is a bigger deal than people is bigger deal that people might not be making out that it is. In my mind, especially, I'm thinking the Raiders have the sixth pick, so everyone's thinking, right, well, they're gonna try and maybe pick a quarterback. That's gone out the window now. They've got respectable quarterback. I say Jacoby Myers was pretty underrated receiver last year. So now they've got a tight end, respectable O line as well. Basically, all they need now really is a running back. And I know a team who has the 12th pick who is not happy to see this happen. So because I think that everyone in their minds had like the Cowboys taking Ashton Genty, and it was pretty much a lock. And I feel like this has ruffled a few more feathers than people think. So I think that's been a biggie, and I can see. We're not talking a draft, but I can see that having an effect, and Ashton Genty maybe coming in, or maybe the Cowboys even jumping up. But I think for me, it's Geno Smith, 100%.
I didn't actually I didn't actually look at it that way, to be honest. I didn't even think about the the effect that this is going to have on the draft. I didn't even think of it that way. That they can now just go for Genty because they have everything else is almost boxed off. They have Brock Bowers, who was one of the top tight ends, if not, he's definitely top three tight ends after the year he had last year. And
Mm.
now bringing in Geno Smith means they can just go and grab Austin Genty too. Kind of, even if his first year he's back. Is Kamara still there? I presume Kamara hasn't gone anywhere. Has he? I didn't see anything. So like, oh, sorry. Yeah, apologies. Yeah, so yeah,
No,
so
you're
they go
good.
and get Austin Genty and they're flying.
This guy loves the Saints as well as you, Conan. He
I
absolutely loves them. He's got
I
them on the
mean,
mind.
love is a strong word. Love is a strong word. It's a love hate relationship at the moment. They
Man, it
paid
would be interesting.
they
Sorry,
paid
go ahead.
Max Crosby as well, so defensive
Yeah,
side of
yeah,
things.
yeah. A lot of things going on over there. Tom Brady's at the helm now. Who knows what's going to
Mm.
happen? But yeah, I think that's an interesting
Yeah,
one. And it would be quite funny now if Genty ends up going to the Raiders or there's like a Cowboys trade. After last time, you predicted that Brandon Staley, quite funny. You were saying it in a funny way, would end up at the Saints, and then he did. So that was a bit mad. But yeah, we'll have to start. We'll have to start calling you the Welsh Wizard if this one comes true as well. You
mm.
never know. But is there any other one that stood out to you, Shane? Apart from the Geno one?
Obviously, kind of. So from a kind of a personal standpoint, I think the Jets bringing in Justin Field was a really good move. But the ones that have kind of stood out to me are the ones that haven't moved. So Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers still sitting their team list is something that I really didn't expect to see. And it feels now that Wilson's not going to go anywhere until Rodgers finds a home. because wherever Rodgers goes, Wilson's going to go the opposite direction. So if Rodgers goes to Steelers, Wilson could end up at the Giants. If Rodgers goes to Giants, Joe the other way around, Wilson ends up back to Steelers. But I think like the Steelers got a steal on him last year, pardon the pun. Like they only paid 1.3 million for the year because of the money he was guaranteed. So like, but this year he wants 30 million off a team. So it's quite a jump for someone to have to go and pay him
Mm.
that big a contract for 1 year, maybe 2 years. Outside of that, I think the Bills tying down Josh Allen to that massive contract as well is something that people they really need to look into properly because it's actually saved them a good bit.
Mm.
The market is only going up with the cap space increasing every
Mm.
year, so they did that at the right time. But I think I'm actually just sick to death of Aaron Rodgers because he's honestly just dragging everything out because he wants to stay in the media. He wants to keep everybody talking about him. He wants his little buddies there in NFL, the NFL insiders, Ian Rappaport, like literally peddling Aaron Rodgers stuff non-stop, keeping his name out there. It's just insatiable, to be honest. I can't stomach it anymore.
I
And I just
totally.
want him to pick somebody. Like, he's dragging it out. He wants to go to the Vikings. Listen, the Vikings
Yeah.
don't want you. They
Mm.
want JJ McCarthy. They have their young QB. They're taking
Mm.
your calls because they're keeping options open if maybe he ended up asking for less money. But at the end of the day, he's just going to end up going to the Steelers. And I just think he doesn't want to do that because it's not exactly where he wants to be, and Mike Tomlin won't take any of his crap as well. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. I think he's really just annoying me this off season.
I agree with you 100%. And I think what's awkward though with the Steelers, they've got, I think at the moment they've got Mason Rudolph back there, and they've got Skylar Thompson there.
Mm.
And it's like, right, so you got two guys who are almost 30, and now you're going to bring in a guy who's 40, who's also going
Yeah,
to be asking for money. So I don't, it is a tricky one. Russell Wilson as well. I think I've just seen recently that he flew to Cleveland for
yeah,
like,
and New York as well.
and New York as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I mean, Jameis Winston's out there.
honestly, I would honestly take him at the Giants just for a bit of entertainment for a year. Like if we
Yeah.
and just draft a rookie QB and get him in. I don't think there's probably a better guy to work with a rookie because Russell Wilson would probably just drive them absolutely insane. Rodgers would have no time for them whatsoever.
No,
Whereas if you had Winston, he would be absolutely delighted to work with a guy. I think that's just my opinion on him, but yeah, I think that we're really just waiting for the dominoes to fall, and then that has a knock-on effect into the draft because who knows what teams are going to pick. I don't know what is going on with the Browns because I don't think they're going to get anybody. They traded for Kenny Pickett, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, but I think the guy who does the commentary for the Browns, Andrew Siciliano. I think he interviewed after Miles Garrett signed the deal, I think he interviewed him and kind of said, why did you stay here? Obviously, he stayed for the money, but he wasn't going to say that.
Yeah.
But he said, like, oh, what's going on? Is there a QB move? Is there something? And he said, oh, I think if they pull off what they said to me is going to happen, that's why I'm still here. So I don't know what that is. I think it's just going to be something stupid like drafting Shador Sanders number 2, and the whole thing is going to explode over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously that was a bit of an interesting one too.
oh my god, oh my god, because I thought like, they were gonna before the Miles Garrett like deal. I thought they were heavy on Abdul Carter just to take
Yeah,
his place in a way. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you kind of get it. You got more money to work with then. But then this is just blown
I think
everything
that
out.
made the most sense if they did that.
Exactly. And then, like you said, if Shador Sanders comes in, he's got Deshaun Watson and Kenny Pickett as his mentors.
Oh my
It's not ideal, really.
gosh. That's tragic. No, that's going to go downhill so quickly if that happens. And it's just going to be such a
I
Browns thing
it
to do something like that.
Yeah, I didn't understand the Miles Garrett contract because like they're clearly not pushing for a championship anytime soon. So why would they
Mm,
go and give him all that money that they could have spent that money on trying to rebuild a squad that is able to win a championship in 5 years? They probably
Mm.
put
yeah.
themselves back another 10 years with this deal. And I just said like their quarterback core is it's not a core. I don't even know what I call it, and everything else is just kind of falling down around them. Like it's just
Yeah,
it's one of the maddest things I've ever seen a team do. I know Miles Garrett is incredible. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong, but he, he wasn't the problem they needed to fix. They
no,
could have let him
no,
go, shook hands, and say, "Okay, now we have this much money to go and do something with the free agency." And now
yeah.
they literally can't. Like,
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I don't think it makes much sense. Obviously, you quickly touched on Justin Fields going to the Jets. I thought
mm,
that was a good move because
Mm.
they can get out of that one early. A similar deal that a team can
yeah,
get out of early is Darnold going to the Seahawks. What do you guys think of those two deals?
you can go
Oh,
first there, Conan.
with I was on the same like boat as you, Shane. Really, I think that Justin Fields to the Jets is a big deal as well. I think it's a really good move for them. I think. I mean, obviously, it's not a banter club, but the Jets are known for not it's not the luckiest place to be, not the luckiest team to play
Yeah,
for. And the Brian Aaron Glenn is now the new head coach. Aaron Glenn's played against Justin Fields. He knows how much of a pain he is.
mm,
So I think I was doing my stats for my the research I was doing beforehand, and when Justin Fields was playing against Aaron Glenn or the Lions with Aaron Glenn, he posted up 3 games with over 100 rushing yards. I think his touchdown to interception ratio was like
mm,
5-2. So it's like, right, he knows how much of an issue it is. It's the same with Dan Quinn when they drafted Jaden Daniels with Washington. Like the worst nightmare for a defensive coordinator is a quarterback who can run. So I think Aaron Glenn is definitely like, well, listen, if we can't beat him, he's joining us.
join us.
I
Yeah.
think, especially in Justin's eyes as well, he gets to come back and play with Garrett Wilson, who he used to play with in Ohio State. I was like, so he already knows he has good connection there already. So I
Mm.
feel like definitely, like you said, I think it is a really good move for him, and I think it maybe it's me being optimistic. Is this change of guard? Is this star something beautiful in New York? I don't know. I don't know.
Shane is hoping so anyway.
I
Big
just said,
Jets fan.
yeah, like it, yeah. The thing for me was that like we're not a team that's going to win a championship, but we're also not a team that is tanking. So
No.
this is like, so we weren't going to go out and pay your 100 millions for your darn or something because it wouldn't have made any sense for us to splash that much money on someone that isn't going to bring us to a championship. This is like the perfect middle ground. It's 40 million over 2 years. Still, it's still a good chunk of change, but no one is expecting him to come in and have a no interception season or anything like that. People are expecting to come in, run the ball a lot, throw good passes, get us a winning season only, and then we
Mm.
can kind of work from there. Like you could still see the Jets drafting a rookie quarterback in the second or third round and kind of having him learn from Fields. If they could bring in another quarterback who's a good runner and kind of watch Justin Fields for a year, 2 years, and then you take over, and then we build our championship team around the second coming. But I think it was a good move in the fact that we aren't tanking where we're not going to win anything. There's no point giving 100 million to someone. Like we tried that with Rodgers and it failed spectacularly.
Deal as well as the fact that they can get out of it after the first year. It's come out now, so that's pretty good. He's still only 26 years of age and he started 44 games in the NFL, so pretty good there. Although he does have some erratic qualities to him, I think he is quite good when he needs to be,
Mm,
and I think the year working with Mike Tomlin will definitely have helped. To be honest, I think the Steelers should have stayed with him. I don't know. I don't think the fans would have been happy with that because they want a big change, a big splash. But I think that would have been the sensible thing to do. And the funny thing is, you mentioned, Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson being there. I think if you asked Mike Tomlin, he would genuinely say that he could get a 9-8 season like out of one of those two, and I probably think he could.
yeah,
So
That's all he cares about. He just wants
yeah,
his winning season again.
yeah,
That's all he
that's
wants.
yeah.
He wants
literally it.
that record. That's
Yeah.
all he wants.
But I think the last one, really, the big one was, of course, Daniel Jones. And I'm only joking. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks. So they've replaced an aging Geno Smith with a kind of a younger Buck. A guy who had a good season all of last season up until the last couple of games, which were quite a big drop off. But again, not all his fault because they
Mm.
did not play well in general in those games. But look, still fairly young, and they've got a third rounder from that Geno trade to also throw around if they want to make a move. But I think good deal, 3 years, 100 million can get out of it after the first year. Shane, what do you think on this one?
I said when the Vikings were knocked out of the playoffs, I said you can take the man out of the Jets, but you can't take the Jets out of the man. And I still I'm kind of sticking with that as well. I think he had a really good season last year, but he had Justin Jefferson to throw to. Like, can Cooper Cup be his Justin Jefferson this year? If he is all well and good, then the Seahawks could very well go and win 10 or 11 games. But if Cooper Cup if he gets injured or if he drops even 10% from what he is now, then I think they'll be rushing to get rid of him at the end of the season. I don't think he's anything special. I don't think he's $100 million special quarterback. I think it's it could be my bias against him now as well, but I just don't think he is. I don't think you're going to get what you expect from him.
It is a tricky one, I think, because we only really have that year to go off. Well, as in positive wise, really.
Mm.
I think the only more I can add really in a positive light is I feel like the NFC West that he's going into, I feel like it's weaker than the NFC North that he was having to play in. So I think he might be able to scrape a couple of wins there anyway. And he used to play for the 49ers as well, so I don't know if that is a positive for him, knowing he's been practicing against that defense day in day out when he was there. But I think I can't give 100% answer basically because obviously he was brilliant last year, but like you said, Shane, it might be a case of you could take the man out of the Jets, but you can't take the Jets out of the man. So I think he's due a couple of bad games now.
Yeah, I agree.
When I'm trying to lead that in, I'm starting by saying that the best part about the deal is that you can get out of it after the first year. So I think that
Exactly.
tells that tells a lot about him. But other smaller deals, I think, just kind of backup wise, more so than anything. Daniel Jones, as I mentioned, tongue in cheek, but he's gone to the Colts now. To be honest, he might end up starting because Anthony Richardson seems to be falling down very high, very quickly in their estimations over there. Jacoby Brissett gone to the Cardinals as a backup. Got Cooper Rush heading to the Ravens as a backup to Lamar Jackson. To be honest, I don't think they did the worst thing there with that. But the
No.
guy's got 12 million over 2 years. Fair play to him. Like,
Yeah,
and
How much
then
he's
the
getting?
Chiefs.
Is that how much he's getting?
Yeah, 2 years,
yeah.
12 million.
Oh
Yeah,
my god!
yeah, and he's
And
31 years of age.
Himself and Daniel Jones have seriously good agents, and I think me and James might need to get one of them in so they can try and get out a deal here for the podcast because they could probably get us 20. They could get us 20 million from Spotify or something with the way that the job they're doing to get these quarterbacks money. Like,
And then the Chiefs, listen to this quarterback room. We absolutely love this one. We've got Patrick Mahomes at the helm. Sitting behind him, we've got Gardner Minshew on a 1 year deal. Sitting
Oh,
behind him, we've got Bailey Zappi.
oh
There we
my
go.
god! I completely forget that these things have happened. Oh my
Absolutely
god!
madness, like. And
Bailey's.
then favorite one for the to for Shane. We'll just wrap up on this one. Absolutely quality is Zach Wilson to the Dolphins.
Wow.
yeah,
How you
You
feeling
know
about that,
what?
Shane?
they can have him. It baffles me that Joe. I know Baker Mayfield turned it around, but when Baker Mayfield fell off so badly, I was like, he's gone from the NFL. He's going to go and play in the CFL or something. He'll just fall away. I genuinely thought the same about Zach Wilson, but they always find a home somehow, even if it is just a backup. These quarterbacks always find a home to practice squad or something. Like they're so useless. It's not
But
even funny. Like I just
that
don't
arm
get
talent
it.
though.
Am I crazy for having
Everyone
faith
goes
in
back
Zach
to.
Wilson?
Sorry, go ahead, Con.
Oh, everyone goes back to that one throw he did in the combine where he threw it over the middle. It's a bit like Joe that Sabbath free kick comes up every international break. That Zach Wilson show must be shown draft rooms all over the place. Like, oh, look what he can do. We can get him right. It's like he clearly that was a fluke. Like it was clearly a fluke. That's okay.
Conan, it seems like you were about to say something positive there about Zach Wilson.
Well, this is the thing. I don't know what it is, but am I crazy for having faith in him? Am I crazy for still
Yes.
Yes.
believing in Zach Wilson? Why do I
Yes.
still believe in him? Because am I wrong? Call me out if I'm wrong here. Did he have a more positive season with the Jets than Aaron Rodgers did?
Yeah, I think,
I wouldn't
yeah,
call this. I don't
that
think
year.
anything about that season was positive. I think you're right. I
But
think he got more wins, but there was nothing positive about the season.
But then
no, yeah.
this is
That,
what I mean. Like he's.
but the
I mean,
Jets were scoring like 10 points in those games, and their defense was
Yeah,
only giving up 7.
yeah, but hey, he
yeah.
scored 10, or they scored
Yeah.
10. You know, I actually, it started to creep back. I remember now because then they lost like a really, it was like a short score. It was a small score, and the journalist asked them like, "Oh, so do you want to apologize to your defense, or do you want to thank them?" He was like, "No." Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that now.
They lost 10-7, I think, to the Browns or something like that. And I think there was that game
Yeah.
after, and he was like, no.
Big
He was
team
like, all
guy.
right.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah,
Someone you love having around. Speaking of a
yeah.
big team guy, we've got Mac Jones heading over to the Niners. How about that one? What a
oh
move.
yeah,
And they were high on him. They were high on him when they took Trey Lance, and then they end up going with Trey Lance that year. So that's a funny one. Let's see him pushing Brock Purdy now. Purdy's going to get his 50, 60 million dollar contract, and we're going to have Mac Jones just coming in as the superhero in the background.
that's not the what's going on in 49ers is
Yeah,
actually
I
crazy.
think that there's something,
Oh,
yeah,
Sorry, Shane, you were
there's something mad about, no, you're okay. There's something mad about this quarterback. Like the way the quarterbacks have spun around this offseason I think I've laughed more than I have been like, oh, that's a great move. I'm like, how are they picking up him? How are they picking up him? How is Gardner Minshew at the Chiefs? Like, so how does that happen? How is Zach Wilson gotten another team? Like, how is Mac Jones the backup at the 49ers? Like, there's
he was too
the
funny
drop
not
off
to
in
with the
quality.
jokes.
Yeah,
He
yeah. Like
didn't
the
care
drop
at
off. No, it was ridiculous. Like the drop off from the top boys to the second string. I don't know if it's ever been bigger. Like on a serious note, like I don't know if the drop off from the starters to the backups has ever been bigger. It's outrageous, and even some of the starters are just can't like don't know. I don't have a better word to describe it. Like there's some awful quarterbacks out there,
Tell
and
us how you
it
really feel,
really
Shane. Tell us
it
how
can't
you
get
really
worse.
feel.
I'm on my knees, like I'm on my knees looking for a good quarterback.
Years of Jets pain is just being let out in this segment
Yeah.
here. Uh, well, we've covered, I think, all the moves around, but last one just before we wrap it up is let's hear what you've got to say about your Saints, huh? Derek Carr. What do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know because it's like I don't want to. I don't want to throw out Spencer Rattler straight away again because I feel like there's potential there. He has shown glimpses, but he was just thrown in the deep end straight away last year. And I mean, we know he has from the silly high school like series he was on. We know he has a big personality, big ego. So I don't think it's taken that much of a hit, but there's only so much a man can take. Okay, so if we throw him to the dogs again, then we might break him. And we already have a not a broken quarterback, but Derek Carr is he's just made of glass at the moment. He keeps putting himself in the wrong places. So I don't know. Is Kellen Moore the answer? I don't know. This is his first like head coaching gig. So, yes, great offensive coordinator. He did have that weird stint. Was it with I think it was with the Cowboys or the Chargers. He had one slope. I think he was doing well with the Chargers, then he went to the
Yeah, and
Cowboys, am I wrong?
it just fell off. Yeah, after a
Yeah. So I don't know if this because I don't know if it's going to be like that. If there's going to be another slump here. Brandon Staley, unironically, pretty good DC.
yeah,
So no, I don't think that's too bad. We got an all right defense. We've spent way too much money on Chase Young. Don't that Shane? You need to get in contact with that agent because He's doing his job
Yeah.
pretty well. It's absurd. I don't know. You watch that was well. I think I'm the only Saints fan who's like not who does not like praise to Cam Jordan every morning or pray to Cam Jordan every morning. Like I'd be happy with him leaving, but everyone else is like, no, he's the Lord and Savior of the Saints. Yeah, he is. They'll always stay. But like Chase Young, you watch him play games, it's just like he's waltzing across. If the let's say he's on the whatever the left side, the play goes right, he's just like waltzing behind, does not care. It's like, please just run, please run.
He's run, yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing. Spending too much money on food. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, but I mean, yeah, I think again, I'm, I'm, I'm trying to remember names. Demario Davis, baller, dog. Pete Werner, dog. Justin Reed and Tyron Matthew. I'm not. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about that at all. So if Chris Olave doesn't get hit in his head again, then we might have either a draw. I don't know what it's called, a 500 season or a positive one. I don't know. Maybe that's the hopes I have.
I think Saints are too much in that zone for too long, where it's just like we might, but
I know.
since the bit of bad luck for a couple of years, obviously that pass interference call, and then the Minneapolis Miracle, like
Yeah.
those are just disgusting pieces of luck. So I think at that time they had such a good team, and now it's just like down, down, down. But they still want to think they're going like this, but they're just constant. So they just need to blow it up, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Just
They
blow it
can't.
up.
They can't just accept that they need to rebuild.
Yeah, and they have
Yeah.
no money as well. So
Well, yes, there's that as well. Yet
yeah,
somehow I swear they're like the 24th best in the league now, and they were dead last, like over 50 million over the
yeah,
cap, dead
yeah.
last.
I
So
can't. I don't even know what they did to avoid that. Was it restructuring? I don't know.
I couldn't even tell you.
I think they gave Carr like two big bonuses or something along those lines.
Yes, and okay, yeah, I get you, yeah. But there's some like devil magic going on with their
Yeah,
accountants or their books. It's like every single year, it's nuts.
yeah.
It's nuts.
Well, that's to wrap it up on the QB carousel. I think we're like we kind of mentioned, we're still waiting on Rodgers, and then after that, the chips will fall where they will. So we'll obviously keep an eye on that throughout the rest of the off season. I'm sure we'll have you back on again because it's always great.
Thank
And
you.
we wish you good luck with your podcast too, and really appreciate you coming on again, man. So thanks again.
Oh, listen, I appreciate you guys. You guys inviting me on. I'm appreciative of you. Thank you for the opportunity. I love it. I love. I don't have friends back home talking to talk NFL. There's no one here to speak. No one at home watches the NFL. It's all rugby. I don't want to talk about rugby, especially now. So
Yeah, worst time for you.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about it either anymore. So
Yeah.
so the more of this I have, the
Uh,
better.
Conan, if do you want to just plug your own podcast there before you go, just give everyone the name of it and where they can find us, and
Uh,
plug your own Instagram as well there.
Thank you very much. So we've got Gueletto, the silly design page that I do, sports designs that I have, and then the podcast is helmed.pod on Instagram, and then I'll give you the Welsh name for it is Ydy'r helmet yn ffitio? Does the helmet fit?
oh,
So yeah,
lovely.
I'm gonna try and be more consistent with that, especially after today on the radio. So yeah, just look out for more Welsh stuff there.
Love it, man. Appreciate it. Do you want to
Brilliant.
give us on your outro? Do you wanna give us who's got the ball in Welsh, and we'll leave it off.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, what do you want me to like announce it? Just say a
Yeah,
word.
just do it in your best announcer voice. Let's hear
Oh
it.
my god! So you've been listening to James, Shane, and Canan on Pwysau Hefo'r Bale.
Woohoo! Thanks, man. Good luck.
Cheers.
Right, lads, let's go straight into Gan Seans now. So last week I had 1 point. Again, Shane, you had another duck egg. I don't know what's after happening to you
Yeah.
after your unbelievable start. What's going on?
I'm just getting complacent now. I have a massive lead over you, kind of like I don't really need to
That's
make as
it. Yeah.
much effort anymore as you do. So I'm just throwing out a couple of hopeful ones so I look really, really smart and not looking too smart at the moment
Going
now.
for the big fish.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the score is 16-9 now, so I'm still seven back. But like I'm gonna need a 5 pointer to get this to get a comeback on
100%.
before the all the seasons are the Premier League and the NBA season are over. So last week my one win was Newcastle beating Liverpool, so double painful for you because that win gave
Mm,
me a point here and Liverpool lost. And I pretty much remember asking you, could I pick them, and you saying yes, have them. There's no chance. So there you go, Gan Seans. There you go,
yeah,
straight in. We were close. I think both of us picked Brighton against City. They probably
yeah,
deserved to win that game, and they were
they
probably the
should have
better
won
team.
it.
But look, wasn't to be. Quality performance by them. So what have you got this week? We just have the NBA, obviously, with no football. So give us a shout of what you have.
Yeah, as I was saying to you 5 minutes ago, that my problem is I keep picking teams who are um, miles behind the other team, and I've kind of stuck to that still, even though I said I wasn't going to. I've gone for the Suns to beat the Cavaliers. The Suns are 32 and 37. The Cavaliers are
Oh my
56 and
God.
12. Look,
Yeah.
the Cavaliers are going to start slowing down at some point. They have a postseason to worry about. They might start resting people. You never know. The Suns might. They might eventually show up to something. I'm saying that with such little confidence, it's actually out of this world. But anyway, I've gone for the Mavericks to beat the Pistons. I do think this one is a bit more realistic than any of the other ones I'm picking. I know the Mavs are falling apart slowly with all the trades they made, but I think the Pistons, while they have been really, really good, I think they are due another rough patch before we go into the postseason. So
Not a bad
basically, why
show.
not? And another silly one. I've gone for the Trailblazers to beat the Nuggets on Saturday. The
I
Trailblazers are
actually
30
like
and
that.
39.
I actually like
Yeah, the
that.
Trailblazers 30 and 39, the Nuggets 44 and 25.
Mm,
I don't trust the Nuggets. I don't know what it is about them. I know they're recent enough NBA champions. I think it was 2 years ago they won it, but when
hmm
Nikola Jokic isn't on it, they're not really on it. And
Yeah.
you know what? Why not?
Yeah, it's quite funny because when they've been playing small teams this year, he hasn't been performing that well, and they've been losing. So Blazers are actually like not a million miles off the play-in, and they're not going to get
Mm,
there, but like they might just try and get a few more wins to try and have a solid end to their season because they're not like down the very bottom of the draft lotteries. They're kind of in that purgatory zone. But yeah, I like that one. What I've gone with is the Clippers to beat the Thunder on Sunday night. So the Clippers are 39 and 30, Thunder are 56 and 12. I did have the Clippers to beat the Grizzlies, but they were only 5 wins worse off, and then they won last night, so that made them 4 wins
uh,
worse off. So I had to pivot, but they did beat the Cavs last night pretty well. So let's see, like, why can't they just go and do that to the Thunder?
mm,
And they're at home in LA, so let's go with that one. I've also gone with the Bulls to beat the Lakers. It's in LA Saturday at 2:30 a.m. Irish time. I'm not 100% sure on this, but to be honest, the Bulls sometimes they just win silly games, and the Lakers just lose ridiculous games sometimes.
yeah.
And let's see a bit of that Josh Giddey experience. Let's get that. Let's get that going. Triple double on LeBron. He's going to drop it. And then after that, we've got the Hawks to beat the Warriors. So this is in Atlanta. I like the way the Hawks have been playing recently. The Warriors are on fire, but I
Mm,
just think the Hawks can win a game against a big team. They just randomly go out and smash the Knicks or the Celtics, whatever. Like Trey Young can just be on it. So I think let's just go with that as a chance of something to happen. It's a quite difficult weekend to be honest, all around. But
yeah, it was,
but
yeah.
we've gone with three different games each, so that's interesting. And so
I
yeah,
think
that's
that's the first
our
time in a long time that's happened.
yeah. I
First time
actually
in a
do.
long time that we the three of us have picked we picked three different things each. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
might give
We'll
an
see how the
interesting
spoils
one.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of the NBA, let's move on then to that. So what do you want to do first, player or team?
We'll go up the team first. We'll let you lead in with the Warriors.
Cool. So it's quite funny. I just picked the Hawks to beat the Warriors,
Yeah.
but the team I picked to talk about was the Warriors because of how impressive they've been recently. Now me picking the Hawks is just something random out there, just throw it out. I don't think that the Warriors are going to come unstuck against a team like the Hawks
Mm,
when it really matters. But I think they're a very sneaky team for the playoffs. I think that they could be a team that'll get to the Western Conference Finals, and they will cause a lot of hassle if they do have to play the Thunder there. I think they're one of the teams that will really push the Thunder this season in the West because just how good they've been since Jimmy Butler joined the team. Now, looking at a couple of these stats throughout the season. So in the 52 games before they had Jimmy Butler, they've averaged 112 points per game. In the 17 games with Jimmy Butler, that's gone up to 117.5. So they've added 5.5 points per game average in those 17 games. There's been an increase in the number of assists per game. There's been an increase of 2 steals per game that shows Jimmy's action on the defensive end. The main one for me, and the main thing that's always been missing from this Warriors team, which he has added, is the free throw attempts. So now they've 25 per game. They did have 20 before, and that's 20 made per game, and they did have 15 before. So they're adding 5 points per game off. The 5 points per game they're adding are all coming off the free throws.
Free
And that's
throws.
exactly what he does. He drives into the lane and he slows the game down. When Steph is, like you just seen the other night, Steph was completely burnt out. He had to rest last night because he was so tired after the game before. You could see the physical toll the season has taken on him and recent seasons. But Jimmy just manned the show last night against the Bucks. 24, 10, and 8. And they beat the Bucks by 11 points, who are not been too bad themselves recently. And I thought he really took over the team. He really showed what he can do when Steph isn't out there, but he's also done so much with Steph out there, taking the ball out of his hands, driving at defenses, slowing the game down by winning free throws. It's just exactly what they needed. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the signing of Jimmy Butler has it's actually turned out to be an absolute masterstroke in what they've done. And they're 15-2. Sorry, I think it's 16-2 now since last night, since he arrived. That's some going for a team that they were really middling when he came in. Like they weren't, they were hopeful of playing, and now
Yeah,
they're definitely in. Now they're getting a playoff spot. He's been 17-5-5 since he arrived as well,
yeah,
which is so
very solid.
he's added so much to him. And when you think like what they gave up for him was it was really really little when you look back, and it was Dennis Schroeder, another
Yeah,
player I can't remember his name, and a
Andrew
second,
Wiggins.
yeah, Andrew Wiggins, and a second rounder in 2031. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's just a joke because he is such a good player. He's one of the top maybe 10, 15 in the NBA when he turns it on, and you just gave up
100%,
those
yeah.
for him.
And it was the way that like he wanted out of the Heat, he wanted him gone. They were like, just give us whatever and just take him. And he has been, as you said, like he's made Steph better, which
Yeah,
probably isn't fair on the rest of the NBA because Steph was already a joke. Like, but
yeah,
like he's made Steph even better since he came in. Like that game where Steph dropped the 4 million 3 pointers. Like Jimmy Butler was taking 2 men off him every single time, and then Steph was just out on the wing, just plopping him
yeah,
down, plopping him down, plopping him down. And that's only an example of one game. Like he's done it nearly every game. He's made Steph's life so much easier since he came in.
yeah. And that's all the Warriors want because Steph is their guy. He's exactly what the Warriors have been since he joined the team, and now they finally have something different because they never really had a player like Jimmy Butler the whole time that Steph was there. And this is exactly what they needed. And it's probably what they wanted and expected Andrew Wiggins to be, but he was never going to reach that level, especially not consistently. He maybe did the year that won the championship, but apart from 2022, but apart from that, he hasn't been at that level. It mentioned in Steph's stats since Jimmy has joined, he's added 5 points per game, and looking at his field goal percentage, it's up from 43 to 47%. So, like you mentioned, a lot more clean looks, and a lot less kind of him being the focal point of the other team having to defend. It changes now between him and Jimmy, and he can take the burden off himself. I think, in general, though, the Warriors look like a team for me that will be very difficult to play against in the playoffs because it's hard to know what they're going to put out there at any given night. They have so many players on their team that could play and do a job. I think at least two of Kaminga, Pajemski, and Moses Moody are going to be dangerous come playoff season because I know that people are down a lot on Kaminga and Pajemski hasn't been that good this season, but I think he proved last year how he can be good, knocking Clay out of the lineup for a while. and Kaminga is just an athletic freak, and I think him playing
Yeah.
alongside Jimmy is going to be dangerous for teams when it comes to the playoff season.
Yeah, I think their starting five has been really, really underappreciated for quite a while now. Like since they let Clay go in the summer, then was like, oh, that's a ridiculous decision. And you're just looking
Mm,
at it now, and you can see it made perfect sense. It made him more athletic. It's made him quicker with the quicker
yeah,
moving the ball. Steph is getting more shots off. It's kind of like everything
yeah,
they've done leading up to the Jimmy trade has now all makes sense now. It all makes so much sense.
yeah,
And they must have, I don't know if they had rumors of Jimmy was going to be available or something, because I can't believe how well he's fit in there and how quickly and seamless it's been as well.
mm.
So you never
I
know
think he
with
has a
like
point to
agents
prove as
talk
well.
like,
Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah, 100%. And he's 35 now, so it's kind of he really is in now or never territory if he is going to get a championship, and
yeah,
that's a massive motivation for a man that doesn't need much motivation anyway, because he's always kind of played on the underdog.
yeah, yeah. No, 100% you're right. I think him being there, looking at he's been the fastest player in Warriors history to reach 100 rebounds and 100 assists. So it took him only 17 games to do that. And this franchise had so many amazing players in their history, and he's the
That's
fastest one to
wild.
do it. Like, it's pretty mad, isn't it? I thought
I
that
didn't
was a
realize
crazy,
that,
crazy stat. Yeah,
especially the assists.
yeah, he's
Wow.
just been dishing them out.
Mm,
So yeah, really, really good. I'm thinking they'd be a good bet to win the championship. I actually should have checked. I'm going to check quickly what their odds are, because I think they're definitely one that could be a sneaky winner here. Let me have a look. So we got the Warriors 16-1. I think that's a very good price.
that's yeah,
Like,
that is a very good price. Yeah,
let
especially
me
like
check.
if
Go, go. What are you going to say?
um, especially like if himself and Steph can keep up the kind of the run they're on, or playing so well together, then they're matched to anyone. And if
Yeah,
they can, if Jimmy can keep up to his defensive side of things and not let the other side slip, then they could easily outscore teams very, very quickly, and they can go on a run of putting points up in any game against anyone. That's hard to
yeah.
match. So
No, I
they
100%
16 to
agree.
one's a great outside bet for him.
I was just going to say I'm going to check the Western Conference what they are to win that is 15-2. Even that 7.5-1 is pretty good.
Who's they? What are the Rockets in that then? Are they behind or ahead of him?
Yeah, they're 50-1.
50.
I
Jeez.
think, yeah, it's just because I don't think anybody expects once it gets to the
No,
playoffs, and I don't really either. But
no, I
I
don't either,
think,
to be honest.
yeah, I think it's not a bad price, to be honest. Not something that might be worth a punt. Because yeah, they're quite dangerous, and we saw what they did in 22. I backed them in 22 from the start of the season, won a good bit of money off that. So I'm a bit later on board now, but once I've seen the Jimmy train, I might have to jump on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think they're a sneaky team now. Obviously, without the Sixers being in the playoffs, I really do always love Steph. He's probably my favorite player in the league, so I'm probably going to be a Warriors fan for the playoffs just to get a watch. So I
Yeah.
might have to back them.
There is
But
something about the Cavs and the Thunder that I don't trust as well. I know the two of them have had incredible regular seasons, but when I watch them, they don't scream championship to me. I don't know what it is. It might just be bias in my head, but it could be a Nuggets, or it could be a Warriors that win it. Someone that's kind of no one is looking at. They've had kind of semi-indifferent regular seasons and then just go on a run in the playoffs, because
yeah,
obviously, like I could come back and look very, very stupid if it ends up with the Cavs and OKC in the championship, in
I
the,
don't think it
fighting it out
will.
for the championship. But I don't see it. Like I think they could fall apart in playoffs, either or both of them.
Yeah, I've been on the Thunder since the start. When I wrote my article at the start of the season on the preview,
Mm,
I picked the Thunder and I picked SGA to win MVP. I'm still going to stick with the Thunder. I think they're probably the best team, but there's just
better
no odds
equipped.
on them. There's just no odds on them now, so there's no point backing them in terms of betting. But I do think they are the best team still. I I think you could be on one though there with the Cavs. I honestly think the Celtics are just too savvy, and I think when it comes to the playoffs, they'll really show up some of the Cavs'
Yeah,
inefficiencies, whatever they may be. We're not 100% sure on those yet, but they'll definitely shine a light on them.
yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, I agree with you there. If you do you want to jump into your player? So you had the player this week.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about Ja Morant. I think he's a man who has all the talent in the world, but every time he seems to do something good, he seems to go and do five things that are bad. And I just kind of I can't understand. Is it the people around him? Is it himself? Is this? It's probably a number of things involved. But for the Grizzlies, like he's only played 43 of 69 games so far this year. Now, I don't know if the 25 game ban he had at the end of last year carried over into this year or not, or if he's just missed those games through injury and suspension. But he's a player I love watching, and I really wish he could get on the court more.
Yeah, I think the games that he missed were, I think he had like 11 different injuries this season. So we definitely need to see him more on the court.
In the games he's played so far this year, he's averaging 22, 4, and 8 on 44%, but he also averages four turnovers. Again, it's kind of to talk about like if everything he does good, he goes and does two or three things bad. Four turnovers is very, very high for a player that's meant to be kind of leading a franchise. Like the contract they gave him means they want him to leave the franchise. 191 million they gave him, guaranteed. So they clearly want him to be the leader of the franchise. And he played 2 nights ago, then missed the two back-to-back games and got 44, 8, and 7. So when he's there, he's incredible. He's so good. He was rookie of the year after his first season. And then he goes and he does the stuff with the Instagram lives. He goes and beats up the security guard in the mall. I can't get a read on is he a good person? Is he a bad person? He's surrounded by bad people. There's just something about him that it really intrigues me because, as I said, I love watching him. I think he is so talented, and when he's on it, he's on it. The Grizzlies win when he's playing and when he's on it.
A lot of this season has been, I don't know what, like how many different injuries, and there was an illness and stuff as well. And then last season, the fact that what he, like you mentioned, some of that stuff he did, like it's just absolutely ridiculous. And the fact of not to do it once, but like multiple times, some of the things there he's
Mm.
doing with the videos and gun signs and all that stuff. Yeah, I really don't know. Like you said, who's advising him? He needs to get somebody there to advise him, and I think he having him and Ant as like faces of the West and like showing off against each other, knocking down dunks, just going crazy on the court. That's exactly what the NBA wants. But if this
Mm.
guy's going to keep acting the way he does off the court, they can't make him a face of the league whatsoever. So I think that he's quite lucky in the fact that this year Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr. have been performing very well because he has had some off nights. Now, obviously, the Grizzlies are not the same team without him. Like in the last two seasons, games without him, they're 36 and 63, and with him, they're 34 and 18. But now, bear in mind, Desmond Bain was out for a lot of games too last season. But I think Desmond Bain has stepped up a lot, 19 points per game this season. Without Ja, he's up to 23 points per game, so he's well able to take control a little bit more. But I think the thing I looked at massively that you've highlighted already is the turnovers. He's the fifth most in the league of players who've played over 40 games. And then the guys above him are guys with so many assists, like Trey, Cade, James Harden, LeBron. These guys all have over 8 assists per game, whereas Ja has 7.4. Now it's not until like turn your nose up at, but he's turning the ball over a lot. And you know, he's turning the ball over for every 1 assist he has, he's turning the ball over half the time. So like two
Yeah,
assists,
pretty
one
much.
turnover. It's not like yeah, he needs to sort that out a bit, and he really needs to sort out his 3 point shooting because he's shooting 29%. He's absolutely stinking it up, and that's on five threes per game. Like if you look at Jaren Jackson Jr. on the same team, a very big player wouldn't be expected to be as
Massive.
good of a 3 point shooter. He's on 36.5%, and he's also attempting five per game. So at least get up to that level. Like this guy is showing you up here, and he's nearly twice your height. But yeah, I
Like
think
there's no need for him to be so bad from three either, because as I've said a million times, he has all the talent in the world. It's clearly he's not practicing them, or he doesn't care. Or if he might be another Mac McClung who he's practicing his dunks all the time instead of doing anything that's important. Like, but there's no need for him to be that low on his 3 pointer, especially as I said, if he wants to be a face of the franchise, or sorry, not of the franchise, wants to be a face of the NBA, he needs to be able to make those shots. Anton's making the shots every night. Nikola
yeah,
Jokic can make them for fun. When Wembanyama can make them for fun. These players he should be kind of striving to be better than.
yeah,
Not he shouldn't be trying and be a middling NBA player because he's the talent to be one of the best. He just needs to
yeah.
get his head around it and get sorted.
yeah, his talent and his athleticism are off the charts. Like it's like when Derrick Rose was younger, that's what people compared it to, the likes of him, Allen Iverson. Like, but it seems like he's almost lost a little bit of the flair this season because of the injuries. It seems like he's a little bit more scared to go for big dunks and stuff like that. He's been a little bit more conservative. Obviously, he still had a good season, but I think mainly what both of us are saying, from what I can gather, is that he's capable of so much more, and we just want to see that.
100%, yeah.
But
And like
yeah,
I'd love nothing more than Ja Morant to play 75 games next season and
yeah,
be averaging 25, 10, and 4 with one turnover. Like,
yeah,
imagine the player you'd have in your hands then. It would put the Grizzlies into a new hemisphere almost. Like, it
yeah.
would be absolutely quality to see him live up to the talent he has.
Yeah. Now he could go into the playoffs this year and be completely healed
And
up and
yeah,
start
rip it up
absolutely
then.
destroying people. So we don't
Mm,
know, but for now, I think we're fairly our assumptions. Yeah, I agree exactly with the way you've highlighted it. So I think we're pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Do you have anything else
yeah.
on him before I move on?
No, good to move on. As I said, I would just love to see him to live up to the talent he showed in his first year when he won Rookie of the Year and just
Yeah.
kind of just go from there.
No, I agree, definitely. So, moving on from that, then we've got our power rankings. So, I'll go first. I think it's true too the last couple of weeks. So, last week I had the Cavs first, then Liverpool, then the Thunder, then the Warriors, Celtics, and Brighton. So this week Cavs have lost a couple of games now on the bounce. So I've had to change things up a little bit. Liverpool go out and lose at the weekend in the cup. So let's see what we've got here. We've got the Thunder on top. I think it's been about time that they get there. I haven't had them top the whole time, but I think they are the best team in the NBA in my eyes. I still think they have untapped potential that they haven't even shown off yet. They're blowing teams away. And I don't think they're going to fall off and go on a couple of games losing streak. I think the Cavs might lose another 4 or 5 games before the end of the season. I don't even see the Thunder losing 2 games or 3 games before the end of the season, to be honest. They've been really, really good. So I think they've got number one for me. Number two for this week, I've gone with Newcastle. They've gone out, they've won the trophy, they've won the Carabao Cup. They were excellent. They've been solid in the Premier League. I think if they win their game in hand, they'll be in the top four. So in recent form, and of course they just won a cup. We're looking at English football teams here. They're going to win a domestic cup. We've got to give them their props. So they've gone up to two for me. The Cavs have slipped down to three. So I still think they've been really, really good. Obviously, just losing 2 games doesn't undo everything. But I think in the week before, they obviously were on like a 15, 16 game win streak, so you can't just turn your nose up at that
Mm.
one. So I think that's kept them there for me. Then Liverpool in fourth, obviously the best team in the league in terms of Premier League, and I don't think there's any reason to drop them any lower than that. Hugely impressive season, just unfortunate in the last week, so they've slipped down a bit for me. Then I've got the Warriors in fifth, still on my board, still been really, really good for all the reason we just highlighted. And then sixth are Brighton. I've kept them in there still because very impressive against City. Nice draw. They're still there, thereabouts for European football, still in the FA Cup, so no reason to drop them out for me.
Yeah, I've kind of gone a similar enough route to you for a lot of things. So I've also moved the Thunder up to first in mine from fourth. A bit like yourself, David. Like I've been saying all along that the Cavs are the best team in basketball, and I think the Thunders are probably the best team in basketball with the way they're playing at the moment. As you said, they're not going to drop too many more between now and the end of the regular season. The Cavs have been incredible, but the Thunder do deserve a good bit more credit than I have been giving them. I have dropped the Cavs into second, so Liverpool have pushed down quite a bit in my rankings this week. Um, I just think there's no one really in the Premier League who is lighting it up at the moment, bar Newcastle winning the cup, pushing for top four. But I think the Thunder and the Cavs of the sport we're talking about, they are the two best, most consistent teams that we have across all the codes at the moment. I have Newcastle in at three, as much as it pained me to put them in there. Again, Joe, they won the cup deservedly. They pretty much battered Liverpool out of the gate. The scoreline didn't do them justice, and would like winning any trophy deserves to get you a place in this rankings. And if it wasn't for how good the two basketball teams have been, they'd probably be top of my list to be honest. At four, I have Liverpool. They've had a really, really bad week. I've had a really, really bad week, but they are still 12 points clear in the league. They are going to win that league title, and I'm not going to drop them out. At 5, I have my Rockets. I think it's been 6 weeks since they were in there. They're back 7-3-1 run, 7 wins in a row. They're going to win the whole lot. I'm going to get them in early before you have to put them in at number one, shortly. So just so you know. And then at 6, the Celtics stay in there for me. I just think they're quality outfits. And as when we were talking about the NBA a while ago, I agree with you that they're probably going to do the Cavs when it comes to it in the playoffs. And I think they're more now. They're more ready for a good playoff run than the Cavs are.
The only one I think I wouldn't go for myself is the Rockets.
It's
I
the
think you've got
Rockets.
a little bit of bias there now because you have to look at some of the games they've won. Not to say that any loss is, any win is less important than another, but let's look at these games here. Let's just pull up the Rockets games here now.
I'll
Who
be
are we
honest with
looking
you.
at?
The
Okay,
notes I
here
have
we
for the
go.
Rockets are because I can.
Here we go. Sixers overtime win by 7 points. Beat the Bulls by three. Beat the Mavericks, who have absolutely nobody. Beat the Suns, useless. Beat the Magic, who cannot score at the moment. Beat the Pelicans twice, absolutely tragic. And then before that, who did we play? Pacers. Oh yeah, lost that one. Thunder. Oh yeah, we lost that one. Kings. Oh yeah, we lost that. Utah
Look,
Jazz.
I understand what you're saying, but those are like the 7 games they've won in a row, while the opposition hasn't exactly been groundbreaking. They're games that last year the Rockets weren't winning. The Rockets weren't going on seven winning runs, 7 games winning runs last year. I don't care who they were playing last year. They were losing games, like they were losing to the 76ers. They were trying to tank. They were
Hmm,
losing those kind of games. There was no consistency, and it is absolutely biased, but I think it's great to see how far they've come in 12 months from where they were this time last year.
yeah.
Like we're in the
Uh,
playoffs, whereas we were nowhere near that last year. Like so,
yeah,
I'm
I know
just
money,
I'm pumped. I'm
money,
excited.
winding you up, man. I think
I know.
you're second in the West now, tied with the Nuggets. So
Yeah,
like, come on, yeah, definitely much more, much more reason to be happy than you had this time last year. I can't argue with that.
100%. Yeah.
So you're well within your rights there to throw them in. So that's our two power rankings for this week. Right, I'll just pause there for a sec. Did you do anything for the other business, or will I just wrap it up?
No, I don't have anything. Just
Yeah,
I thought we'd be dragging over again with
yeah,
Kaylin.
no
Kaylin.
worries. Okay,
So I didn't want to drag it out too
Conan.
much. Conan. Jesus, I'm gonna
Yeah,
write it down
okay,
on my screen before he comes on.
yeah. Yeah, I'll just well after you write it down, then I'll wrap up, and then we'll exit out of this recording so that he can
Yeah,
join.
perfect. Let's go.
Okay, so that's pretty much I think all we have this week. Really appreciate you listening. Really appreciate Conan for coming on. If you want to give him a look, he's got his own podcast now. Obviously, as we mentioned, and you can look at his page too for his graphics and stuff. All really top class stuff. So all the links are below. Shane, thanks again, man. Good week. Really enjoyed it. And we'll chat to you again next week, lads.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.